All right. Hi, my name is Aaliyah, and I'm here with Xavier Reyes-Ayral to talk about his book Revelations, which has been doing great at our publishing company. He's one of our best-selling authors at the moment, and so if you can introduce yourself, Xavier.
Well, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Xavier Reyes-Ayral. I am a Frenchman. This is my first book I published in the United States. I published other books in France, in Germany, and in Italy. But this book has gone beyond all expectations. And we've gone through so many horizons. It's gone, you could say, viral throughout the planet in every Anglo-Saxon country around the world. We're doing a Spanish translation. Already we are booked with pre-orders. And I'm working also on the French translation as well. So this book holds a great deal of importance, not so much for the fame it's produced, but for the message it contains.
Yeah.
So thank you
Yeah.
to Austin.
Yeah, so we actually spoke with Xavier back in August. And this is when his book was just starting to take off, and it's just, done tremendously well since then. So we just wanted to come back and ask Xavier a few questions. First one being, Xavier, can you tell us about your book Revelations you wrote and published with our publishing house?
Yes, this book took me approximately 3 years to write. And it is the compilation of a great study that I've initialized even more years than I care to mention. But all in all, this book deals with Marian apparitions around the world, particularly the most famous ones of all, and particularly those which have been approved by the Roman Catholic and Apostolic Church after exhaustive study and investigation, not just on the theological messages themselves, but on the enormous amount of miracles that have taken place, conversions, and phenomena, which to this day, the most renowned scientists are simply incapable to explain. So the messages, there are 9 chapters altogether. It begins with the approved and recognized Catholic apparition in La Salette in 1846, followed by Tilly in Normandy, the country I am from, in France, followed by Fatima,
Yeah.
which includes as well the complete, and I stress this extensively now, the complete third secret of Fatima, not just the half, which has been revealed by the Vatican in June 2000, but the complete third secret, which I was able to get. Followed immediately thereafter by Akita, an approved apparition site as well, to a sister, a religious sister called Agnes Asagawa, approved by the local bishop and by the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith in the Vatican, followed by Garabandal in España, in Spain, to 4 remarkable young children, little girls, followed by the apparitions, the famous apparition sites of Medjugorje, and followed by also a lady of good success in Quito, in Ecuador, and also followed by revelations that were done to popes, to mystics, to stigmatists, such as Padre Pio, who had all the stigmata of our Lord Jesus Christ, Marie-Julie Janis, and so many others, including I even found the the 5 secrets given to Bernadette Soubirous in Lourdes, in France, which were purposely hidden by the local bishop, and the secrets hidden by the Bishop of Grenoble in France of the apparitions and the prophecies of Our Lady of La Salette. All this is in the book.
Wow. So you've kind of answered a little bit of some of the other questions that I have for you, but if you can go more in depth, um, are the messages of the apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary only meant to Roman Catholics, to Christians, or all denominations and faiths?
That's a brilliant question that you're asking, Ryan. Brilliant. These particular messages, they all have in common one same message: urgent conversion. And the answer to your question is, it's not just meant to Roman Catholics, no. The Blessed Virgin Mary, for instance, in Msgr, said that some souls that are not Catholics, but Christian or even Jews and Muslims, manage to gain heaven before some Catholics. Now, this has caused a lot of problems with some traditionalist Catholics. In the Bible, Christ was very clear: unless you drink my blood and eat my flesh, you cannot have part of the kingdom of my Father. Here, clearly, the Catholics, we do believe, according to the deposit of the faith, the dogma of the faith, that Christ made a formal sacrament of the Holy Eucharist, which the Catholic from St. Peter, upon which Christ founded his church, followed up all the way to Pope Francis. That's what we Catholics believe. But the Virgin Mary, whether it's in La Salette or Akita or Medjugorje or Garavandal, calls all of humanity, without exception. Muslims, even Jews, even agnostics, even atheists, Protestants of all denominations, Baptism, Anglicans, Lutherans, Calvinists, all Protestant. Protestant means any and every Christian who is not Catholic. They are Protestant, protesting against the Pope and the hierarchy. No, we Catholics believe that the Roman Catholic Church, which was founded on Peter by Christ, is indeed the only Christian church founded by Christ upon Peter, the rock. All the other Christian church, although we respect them immensely, we consider them our brother Christians, no? And with all due respect, their churches, their faith have been founded by imperfect men. The Anglican by Henry VIII, the Lutherans by Luther, the Calvinists by Calvin, and so on and so forth. No, but we respect them.
Yeah.
The Virgin Mary in various apparition sites says that the Protestant Church and the Catholic Church form the two lungs of the Church of her Son. And this division that was created by man was inspired by an enemy, which I will not mention his name. And I just want to echo very quickly the cornerstone of the message, or the same messages in all these apparition sites you will read in my book, that the Virgin always comes to bring forth. Prophecy, like she gave in Fatima in 1917, announcing a Second World War, announcing the spreading of Russia's errors throughout the world, in a time where it was completely unrealistic to believe in such things. Russia had been beaten by the force of the Central European powers, particularly by the army of the Kaiser, signed a humiliating armistice, and was held by an army that was held with 19th century concepts. It became, in short words, a third world country. So at the time, to bring a prophecy that Russia would spread her errors throughout the world if humanity does not convert in time was incredible. To believe as well that there would be a Second World War when the first was not over yet was incredible as well. This First World War in 1917 was supposed to be the last of the wars, sealed by the Treaty of Versailles. It was unrealistic to think that there would be another world war, and it happened, if humanity did not convert. So in all these apparition sites, the Blessed Virgin Mary, addressing herself not just to Catholics, but to all Christians, to all who are inspired by the Holy Spirit, to believe and to hear. Conversion must be taking place by the living and the reading of Holy Scriptures, by the living and reading the Gospels, by praying. Particularly, the Virgin Mary invites us to pray the Holy Rosary. No? Our Lady of Fatima invites us to convert as well by returning to the Church, her Son, founded on St. Peter, the Roman Catholic and Apostolic Church, the Church which Christ said, the smoke and the flames of hell will never overcome the Church I founded, on Peter, the rock. And she invites everyone to convert in time, through confession, which is a sacrament. And after confession, by receiving the holy body and blood, soul and divinity of our Lord Jesus Christ, through the holy sacrament of the Eucharist, which the Virgin Mary imploringly asks her children to believe it is not a symbol, but the true body, the true blood of our Lord Jesus Christ. Many people will say no, particularly the Protestants will say it's a symbol. When Christ gave the Last Supper, the bread and the blood and the wine to the disciples, he said, do this in memory of me. Yes, he did. But there's been in countless occasions in the course of history, in the centuries of past, where we had Eucharistic miracles to prove that indeed this is really the heart of Christ. To name but one, Lanciano, in the 8th century. And I don't want to take too much against the clock in this interview, but to be very brief, a Basilian monk was starting to lose, Catholic Basilian monk, was starting to lose his faith every time he consecrated the host. He did not believe this piece of bread and chalice of wine became the body and the blood of our Lord. He thought it was just a symbol. He went to see his bishop and said, Excellency, I'm losing my faith. I beg you to tell me what to do because I'm losing my faith. I don't want to be a priest anymore. I'm not worthy. So the bishop told him, look, pray, place yourself at the feet of the cross and ask God for his assistance. God will not turn you down, my son. He did. And upon a mass, he was celebrating very mechanically, consecrating the blood and the bread and the wine in front of witnesses. This host of bread transformed itself into a slice of flesh. Inside the flesh, there are veins and arteries with human heart of type AB, the same type of blood found in the Shroud of Turin. The chalice of wine transformed itself in a chalice of human blood, type AB. This was in the years 700 plus. The bishop ordered the chalice sealed and the Eucharist sealed inside the obscurum so that future generation would be able to study. In 1978, John Paul II broke the seals the first time in 13 centuries and had atheist scientists who did not believe in any God study it. They found that the slice of flesh, which used to be a Eucharist, was cut with the precision of a laser, and that the blood inside the veins and the arteries inside of that slice were still human white and red blood cells, type AB. This is clearly, you must understand, this is impossible, unexplainable by scientific means. And the slice of the Eucharist was a complete part of a human heart. The blood, once it was coagulated, once placed with water, became live blood with living white and red cells of a human heart as well, type AB. This is one example among many others. There's been others in San Nicolas in Argentina, in Betania in Venezuela, in multitude of other places. This book orbits around the message of the Virgin Mary and the prophecies of the future given in Fatima, not just about the Second World War, or about Russia spraying her errors, but about the future that is not yet past. And what is mentioned in these prophecies in this book.
Wow, that's incredible. That is all incredible. I did want to ask you an additional question, which is what is your background in Marianology?
Excellent question indeed. I worked for about 8 years with well-renowned Mariologian, Msgr René Laurentin. In French, his name is pronounced properly René Laurentin. He was an expert in Marianology. Whenever there was an alleged apparition site around the world, the local bishops called upon Monseigneur René Laurentin. Monseigneur Laurentin was instrumental in the approval process of San Nicolas in Argentina, of Betania in Venezuela, of Kibeho in Rwanda, formally approved thanks to the help theological and scientific tests made on the visionaries through Monseigneur René Laurentin, in Soufanieh in Syria, and he was one of the arch defenders of Medjugorje, which to this day the apparitions are taking place there. No? So I worked with him 8 years on one particular apparition case, books of which I wrote and published in France, in Italy, and in Germany. So among these years, I'm not by a long stretch of imagination the expert that Father Laurentin was, but I learned an enormous amount in these years at his side. The difference in age was considerable. He could have been my father. I'm 54 years old presently. He passed away in 2017, 100 years after the apparitions of Fatima. But if there is one thing I've learned, that is this: the Catholic Church, through Father Laurentin, the Catholic Church, whenever there is an alleged apparition site, is the worst enemy of these apparition sites. They tried by every single means to torpedo it and try to prove that it doesn't come from heaven. I asked one day Monsignor Laurentin, why do we do that? Especially when we have cases that are extraordinary, pure kindness, pure mercy from God, asking his children imploringly to return to God and to the church founded upon Peter. Why does the church, why is she so aggressive? And Father Laurentin answered, and he told me, Xavier, it is our duty. Christ has given us the authority through Peter, and from Peter all the way to Francis, to discern what comes from heaven and to discern what comes from the enemy. If indeed there is an apparition through heaven's first emissary, the Blessed Virgin Mary, that comes from heaven, we have the authority to declare it as such. Now, Christ was clear when he mentioned to Peter, whatever you declare bounded on earth will be declared bounded in heaven. Whatever you declare unbounded on earth will be declared unbounded in heaven. This authority, that's what apostolic means, has been given from one pope all the way from Peter to Francis. What's more, he said, if something comes from heaven, there is nothing that either angel, pope, or man will be able, if it comes from heaven, that will be able to destroy it. God's will be done. If it comes from the enemy, we have the power to destroy his endeavors. As I remind you, the only exorcists that are able to exorcise a human being, a home, or anything are Roman Catholic and also Orthodox. It's the only denomination, Christian denomination, that has that power. And that, in a way, gives credibility to the Catholic Church. No. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Xavier, thank you so much for meeting with me and speaking about your book. We are to meet again and have another interview. So guys, please be on the lookout for that. We have 2 more interviews coming up. And yeah, it was great speaking to you, Xavier. Thank you so, so much.
Likewise, you're a charming lady. And thank you to your viewers.
Thank you.